Well, to discuss all of that, I'm joined now from Washington, D.C. by Calvin Dark, a US political analyst and commentator. Calvin, we're going to start with what we just saw there. Elon Musk, who has become a really central figure in US politics, of course. Mega bucks being poured into this race. Which way do you think it's going to go?
Well, that remains to be seen, but we definitely know that the eyes in the United States are on this race, not because the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin is really that important to most Americans outside of Wisconsin, but this is the first actual test, not a poll, not a focus group, but an actual test of what voters think almost 3 months into Donald Trump's term. But I think that what we have to realize is while this may be a reflection of what people think about Donald Trump's policies, Donald Trump is Teflon. I don't think this is going to help him or hurt him either way. This is a test to see if the Elon Musk model works. And by model, I mean money. Because if it works, he's going to have a lot more control over Republicans who have midterm elections next year. If with all of this money, his candidate doesn't win, I think Republicans are going to be a little bit more likely to speak out against what Elon Musk is doing because they don't fear the influence that his money can have in their individual races.
Indeed. Now let's turn to Florida, which I guess in recent election cycles has become more reliably Republican. But of course, these are interesting congressional seats. Just tell us more about these two.
Well, first of all, these two seats were seats that were vacated because Donald Trump made appointments. One was to Matt Gaetz. He left Congress to become the Attorney General, although he withdrew before that vote. He didn't become Attorney General. And then Mike Walls, who had to resign so that he could be the National Security Advisor. So let's be clear that though they were chosen because their seats were safe. Now, I don't like making predictions about politics, but I feel comfortable making this one. The Republicans are going to win this. Why is it a big deal? I think people want to believe that there's so much opposition to what's happening that it's going to be shown that these Republicans are going to lose this seat. There is opposition, but Donald Trump and these Republicans won it by more than 30 points. There's not a 30-point shift in opinion against Republicans or Donald Trump in less than 3 months.
Indeed. And more broadly, what is the general feeling amongst, certainly in opinion polls, about some of these issues that we're talking about more globally, like things like the war in Ukraine and tariffs? Do they resonate on the doorstep in elections like these?
I think they do. Now, they're going to resonate more with Democrats and independents who didn't support Donald Trump because they have been in opposition to what Donald Trump is doing. So this is the first real opportunity they have to put their voice out there. I think for those who support Donald Trump, they're still in a wait and see mode. But the honeymoon cannot last forever. At some point, people are going to start holding him accountable, and they're going to look at the things like the tariffs and what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in the Middle East, and he can't blame it on Biden after the summer. So this is a really pivotal time for President Trump.
Yeah, really interesting, of course, and he does still have a lot of support, but let's see what voters in both of those states do at the ballot box. Calvin Dark, thank you very much for joining us.